Let's talk about Arsenal's pre-season. What have we learned so far? What do we think of the transfers in and out? What do we think about the results? Or more importantly, the performances over the last few weeks, especially out in America? In today's video, we're going to talk about it all. I don't know what I'm going to call this. I've always wanted to do kind of Arsenal breakdowns other than match reviews. Maybe it's a series of things we've learned, 5 things we've learned, 6 things we've learned, just breaking down everything Arsenal related. I'm also going to be bringing out some transfer related videos, transfers that maybe you missed, really insane transfers that I cannot believe went through, some transfers that I think were bad. And obviously we're taking a small break from career mode to make some different content. So sit back, relax, and especially you Arsenal fans, I think you're going to enjoy this one. I think the first thing I want to talk about, and the first thing that maybe we've learnt this season, is that Arsenal are continuing to make sensible transfers. We're not blowing our huge entire budget on one player. Let's say a Lukaku for 100 million. We're not doing that. We're breaking it into chunks where the team need reinforcements. So, for example, if we're looking at this season's transfers so far, Gabriel Jesus coming in for £46.98 million. It's not breaking the bank, and it's sensible. He's Premier League proven. He's played for Man City for 5-6 seasons. He's an incredible talent. He's still only 25. It is just sensible. It would have been very easy to go out there and spend 100 million on Osimhen or someone like that who hasn't even played in the Premier League yet. So very impressed with the Jesus signing. Zinchenko, the most recent signing, 31 million, also from Man City. Premier League proven, winner, 25 years old, versatile. That is another thing that Arsenal transfers have been like for a good few transfer windows now. We're bringing in players that can do multiple jobs for the team and they can slot in different positions. Fabio Vieira, the new Vieira, kind of out of the blue. I actually think this transfer it's one to watch and it's an exciting one, but maybe one that we didn't necessarily need to bring in. You know, we've got quite a few attacking players that play in his position, but still, at 31.5 million, you hear the reports in Portugal that he is going to be a special player, and it's an investment, isn't it? And I don't actually think it's too bad. Matt Turner, of course, was confirmed quite a while ago. He's the new backup. We know that Leno is going to be leaving. Again, I don't know much about Matt Turner. I've seen training videos. I've seen him play a couple of preseason games. He seems okay as a backup keeper. I wouldn't feel comfortable him being number one. But of course, Marquinhos as well. We haven't seen enough of this young Brazilian, but again, it's a sensible transfer. Roughly £3 million. You can't really go wrong with signing these talented young Brazilian players for such little money because look at Gabriel Martinelli. We signed him for what, 7 million, I think it was. What a signing that was by Unai Emery and his team, but it's worked out fantastically. He's probably worth well over 40-50 million pounds. So maybe the same can happen to Marquinhos. And what I'm going to do is count Saliba as well. There were reports that maybe we would let him go, which drove me mad. But this brings me on to the second point of this video, the second thing that we've learned. And it's a huge positive. They're not all going to be positive things, but this is keeping Saliba. New contract is apparently agreed. It should be going through in the next few days, weeks. Maybe it'll get announced before the next game, which I believe is I think it's the Emirates Cup, isn't it, against Sevilla maybe. Saliba staying is a new signing for us. He's been out on loan for so long now. We've waited, us Arsenal fans have waited to see him back in the shirt, and my God, he looks very, very solid. And just a reminder, he's still only 21. Okay, ridiculous how good he is at such a young age. We can talk about some of the outgoings as well. Guendouzi, of course, has completed a permanent switch to Marseille. I think we got 10 million, something like that. Bellerin is still with the club at the moment, but I'm sure he will go back to Betis. So I'm hearing that Arsenal are being much more ruthless with selling players this season. We're not just shifting players on for any money that we can get. Leno is another one that's been said to be leaving to Fulham. They're offering us money and we're rejecting it because it's not meeting our valuation. And you just don't hear that about Arsenal. We just shift players on and waste money. So it's really good to hear that, you know, Bellerin, we've had offers from Betis and I think some other clubs, I think a Turkish club as well, but it wasn't enough money. So we've just said no. We've got there's no rush, okay, but we will need to sell these players before too long. Torreira, I believe, is pretty much gone. We've taken his number and given it to Zinchenko. Mavropanos, of course, completed a permanent move to Stuttgart. Maitland-Niles, I don't know what's happening with him. I think he's been very average in pre-season. Reece Nelson, again, just one of those players that it's always like, he could be good. He could do a job for us, but I don't see it. I don't know if it's going to work out for Reece Nelson. Pablo Mari, of course, I'm sure we'll sell him. Trusty's gone on loan to Birmingham. He's a brand new signing from the MLS. And Runarsson, I'm pretty sure we will be selling him as well. But that is two things we've learned so far. Just like last summer transfer window, we made sensible signings. It was a bit more outlandish with the Ben White 50 million deal and maybe Ramsdale at 30, 35 million. That was quite expensive. But certainly this summer, we have made sensible transfers. And the second thing, Saliba stays. Hashtag it. Saliba is here to stay. And he will be starting, I think, with Gabriel. And maybe Ben White will tuck in that right back position. Maybe we'll go with the back three. Either way, it's a huge positive that we are retaining such a good player. The young player of the year in the French league last season. And for sure, in the future, will be one of the best centre-backs in the world. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, a third thing that maybe we haven't learned, but we've seen more of this summer window and also during pre-season, is, well, I've labelled it togetherness. The team looks so friendly, and it's just a joy to see. It doesn't feel like there's any toxic personalities in the dressing room. If you watch the training videos, if you watch the celebrations after the pre-season friendlies, which of course, if we lost 4-0 to Chelsea instead of winning 4-0, it might have been a different story. But everything I see after every single performance in pre-season, everyone seems so together. The new signings, I'm looking at Zinchenko within just a day or two. He's part of the squad already. It's amazing. And I really think that is such a vital component to any team wanting to win trophies and push in the league to get to that top 2 spot, maybe even win the title. You need togetherness. You can't have any toxic personalities. You can't afford to have any breakdown of relationships within the squad. And of course, if it happens, you deal with it. Maybe they can deal with it themselves. Maybe you get staff involved. But it seems, from the outside at least, that Arsenal have an unbelievably tight-knit community within the team. Everyone seems to get on nicely. We've got little groups of, the Portuguese speaking, the English speaking. We had a big French speaking, which has definitely been split apart a little bit. It feels like it's kind of English, Brazilian, Spanish. That's kind of where the Arsenal squad is. It's weird without Aubameyang and Lacazette and, Pepe with his French speaking as well. We've lost that contingent a little bit, but do you know what? If we're replacing it with Brazilian flair, and you know how Brazilians are, it's absolutely true. They're so, I don't know what the word is. They do everything to win. They're so competitive. They've got this fire about them, and obviously they're technicians. If you go through the Brazilian national team over the years, the Ronaldinhos, Rivaldos, R9 Ronaldo, just so many of them that have that technical ability, that flair that you don't see in some other continents. And I love that about Arsenal now. I'm falling back in love with the team because it isn't just the English core. We've gone through an English core. We've had the Gibbs, the Wilshere, it's now more, Saka and Smith Rowe, Ramsdale, Ben White. And I love that. And Nketiah coming through. But there's that Brazilian side as well. And of course, when you look at technical director Edu, Brazilian, he's got a lot of links to Brazilian agents, and you can see why it's happened. And I love that there is just that unity. So for me, that's a huge point. And by the way, any points that I make, they're in no particular order. There are going to be some negatives. There are going to be some positives. But for now, it's only been positives, hasn't it? We can move on to number 4, though, which I think is a negative, but I'm pretty sure it will be a thing of the past in the next week or so. Can you guys imagine what I would be talking about? We've talked about signings, but aren't we missing at least one more? A central midfielder, maybe? So this is my number 4 point. We haven't signed a centre mid. Now, the reason I somewhat think this isn't going to be a problem in a week is there are links with Tielemans, Paqueta. I don't think he's really a centre mid, but he can do a job there. We've been linked with Milinkovic-Savic. We've had so many links, but the Tielemans link keeps coming back. Just this morning, I read that we have made it, got it going a bit more. Then we talk about Zinchenko. The fact that Tierney playing at left back, if he starts, do you put Zinchenko in midfield? Is there an element of Arteta thinks he can do both and do it well enough? Zinchenko plays as a centre mid for his country. He does for City every now, or did for City every now and again. Of course, he's more of a left back for City. So it's going to be an interesting one, that. I do believe we still should be bringing in a centre mid. There is that kind of dark cloud, which no one seems to be talking about at the moment, but the alleged incident with Partey and with an ongoing case there. I don't want to go into details, but there is a strong possibility, if things go bad, we might be without Partey. So we do definitely need to bring in a central midfielder. We're looking at Sambi doing a lot better in this pre-season tournament as well. I don't know why we call it a tournament. We won the Florida Cup or whatever that is, but I thought Sambi looked a lot better. El Neni's been doing great. Of course, Xhaka and Partey have been their usual selves, just a great partnership there. But I do feel like there is a slot there. There is a space for another central midfielder. I personally think if we can get Tielemans for 25, 30 million, that is an absolute steal. I can't remember how old he is. I want to say 24, which is still so young. We've got so many leaders, and he would be adding to that as well. And can you imagine the Tielemans and Sambi vibe? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I really do believe we will get that done. And if we don't, maybe the plan is to shift Zinchenko into midfield if Tierney starts, or if we do keep hold of Tavares, who could be loaned out, maybe Zinchenko is only going to play midfield. But what I will say, if I go to the Arsenal page here, if you go up to teams, you can see they've listed Zinchenko as a defender, which is very interesting, because I actually think that he might end up playing as a midfielder more, but we'll see. The way I see it at the moment, based off the very little I've seen of Zinchenko in an Arsenal shirt, he was incredible against Chelsea, and he could very easily displace Tierney, who is injury prone and not as reliable because of that. So, one to watch out for. And now lastly, for my fifth point, and it is a positive, and the reason I want to talk about this one is because I think it needs to be said. Trust the process. The hashtag trust the process. Can we all see it happening? Arsenal fans, what do you think of what Arteta and his team have done? What has Edu been doing this summer? Is it enough? Because I think, and I strongly believe, this process that we're being told to believe in, it's happening. It truly is. If you look around at some of the other teams, let's use Chelsea as an example. They've had a very disjointed pre-season. They've got a lot of players that aren't happy there. Actually, it's a bit of a bad example to use because of what they've been through with, the ownership. And let's think of another team. I think Man United have had a pretty good pre-season. But the point I'm trying to make is that we're in good shape. For the first time in a long time, even better than last summer, I feel like we've got our targets signed and put into the team nice and early. As I said, I still think we're missing one more, maybe two, but to get Jesus in so early and Zinchenko mid pre-season, to get them bedded into the squad nice and early. We've won every single pre-season game. And honestly, I've seen rival fans saying, wow, Arsenal could be in for a good season. And you just don't hear that as an Arsenal fan. We haven't heard that in decades, it feels like, where teams are almost fearful of us. I honestly think Jesus has elevated our front line so much. We've got an actual finisher there that's going to bag us loads of goals, and we've reinforced the team in other positions, and we've got rid of players that aren't here for the right reasons, or whatever the case may be. We are ready. The process is slowly coming true, and of course we have to keep going. It's not about being satisfied now. We've got a young squad with good potential. Now we just let it blossom. It doesn't quite work like that. There is still a lot of work to do. There are still players in this team that maybe shouldn't be here, or that maybe only have another year or two. Think of players like Xhaka. Is he going to be here in 2 years performing at this level? No. So that's why it's important, again, to bring in that central midfielder. But honestly, I think Arteta and especially Edu over the years, more so Edu, has been getting quite a lot of criticism, and some of it's fair, but some of it's harsh. He clearly loves the club. He was a part of the Invincibles. He's an incredible, incredible player, and now technical director. Very, very underrated at his job. He's done a great job this summer, and I truly feel like more than ever now, We're going into a season where lots of other teams are improving as well. You know, Man City and Liverpool are going to be another level still. I know that. But we will be there with Tottenham. I think United will come back stronger this season. Chelsea will obviously still be there. It's going to be fascinating. But that is a huge positive for me. That trust the process. It's a thing. It really is, guys. We have to back the manager, back the board, even the Cronkays. They've been investing. It's happening right in front of us, and it is the most exciting time to be an Arsenal fan in a long time. Young manager, young squad, full of potential, seemingly very healthy relationships everywhere. We've got money in the bank. We're clearly investing, and that is just, it's all I can ask for. I'm so excited about the future, but we'll see, because we've still got another game against Sevilla. I think it is in the, I can actually check here, fixtures. Let me show you. So we've got, Sevilla in the Emirates Cup. The Emirates Cup. And then, of course, we're going to Selhurst Park to play Crystal Palace. And, great. If we beat Sevilla 4-1 or something like that, oh my God, it's amazing. We've won again. And then we go to Crystal Palace and lose. It would be an absolute disaster. And it's not easy to then go to play against Leicester at home as well. That could be a tricky game. Bournemouth and Fulham, you just never know. So it's not the worst start to the season, but we lost against Crystal Palace badly, not too long ago, and we can't afford to do that again. But honestly, guys, we've learned a lot of things. Very, very positive pre-season. I'm very, very pleased with how things are going, and let's hope for a good season. We have to get top 4.